unfortunately, this is happening. So the bill that we've been expecting to pass yesterday, unfortunately, did not pass the House. And the problem is that that this is actually kind of a problem because everybody is accounting for it. Trump has been calling this the biggest thing ever. This is very substantial for the US to progress on if they want to implement stablecoin legislation, the Clarity Act, which is going to be a clear framework, framework for cryptocurrencies to exist within the United States, whether you're buying them, whether you're selling, whether you're creating them, or whether you're just providing a framework for people to do all this. So we're going to talk about that and a bunch of other stuff. I have to keep you updated on the market, and this is what I do if you don't know who I am. My name is Fefe, and the best way to describe this show is you have a 20 minutes, 25 minutes show a day, and you get every alpha you need to be able to take trades like this, to be able to be up to date with what is happening, even if some stuff you don't understand. I write threads and much more. Let's get going. If you are here, I'd like you to smash the like, subscribe to the channel if this is the first time you're here, and if you never see me, follow me on X. I actually just want to share with you an incredible news. I literally just before I came on the show passed 50,000 followers on X. I truly appreciate every single one of you for being here, for supporting, for actually getting the alpha day by day. Making money with you is beautiful. This is a post from 2023, April 27th, when I posted past 500 followers yesterday. Thank you all. This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. So yeah, I'm super grateful. And yeah, it is time to get into the show. So this is the up only season, guys. I don't know what you're thinking, but this is, I'm not even gonna talk about the fact that we're going up and how cool it is, because it is cool. Like, it's gonna be all-time highs after all-time highs, and the odds will fall, and it's gonna be great. And this is what I tweeted. Disbelief stage. This is what we're talking about. There's 9 billion worth of Bitcoin potentially hitting the market. The US voted against the legislation, and you still can't get an entry. I mean, what is it? If not the disbelief stage, 150,000 in 60 days is what I'm calling for. Now, we just got the news that PPI came in at 0%. 0%. Expectations was 0.2, and then previous was 0.1. There is no way the Fed does not make a cut. I mean, I believe they are going to cut here in July, but I also think that there is a possibility that they don't and they push it out to September. But rate cuts are here, quantitative easing will start, money printing will start, and it is happening. Crypto week, right? So we've been waiting for this for a long time, and now it's happening, and Trump was very vocal about the fact how important it is. Of course, he's leaning more into the Genius Act, which is the regulatory framework for stablecoin issuers. Therefore, they can strengthen the United States dollar on a global scale through stablecoins and stablecoin issuing. And he was tweeting about it, and on Truth Social was posting about it. I was very excited. And then it kind of fell flat because it's just a recap on Genius Act is the stablecoin legislation. Clarity Act defines the rules for 𝗕𝗏, CFTC. So what is a regulation? What is a security? What is not a security? How you can issue tokens? How you can buy tokens? All this stuff. And then we have the anti-CBDC Act, which basically limits the government to issue a CBDC. And they had a vote yesterday, but the problem is that it failed to advance. And there was the votes were actually quite interesting. So you see, 196 Republican voted yes, which is not a surprise really, because I thought it was going to be all of them. But apparently 13 voted nay, and 11 didn't vote. And then no surprise that 210 Democrats actually voted no. So it's not a surprise that it happened. But unfortunately, the bill did not pass. Now there are about 13 Republicans who voted no. And you have all the names here. And there was discussion, why would they vote no when they know President Trump wants it and there was an executive order to create this legislation? Why would they want it? And it turns out that all of them who actually made a statement about it, they said that the problem was that creates a framework for layered central bank digital currency. Here's another representative saying the same thing. I voted no because the central bank digital currency and because Speaker Johnson did not allow us to submit an amendment to it. And also, everybody was basically concerned about the CBDC legislation. Now you have to understand that the way these things work is that they have to pass these votes, right? But at certain stages they just want to push it through. There's no right to do amendments to it. And what a lot of people misunderstand with the failing of this is that there was an executive order of Trump, right? So Trump made his executive order, and in that executive order, he basically said people will maintain self-custody of digital assets and ban agencies from establishing CBDCs in the United States. So if you actually read the actual executive order, and you scroll down here, this is Trump's executive order about the whole thing on January 23rd, 3 days after he got into office. It says, taking measures to protect Americans from the risk of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, which threaten the stability of the financial system, individual privacy, and the sovereignty of the United States, including by prohibiting the establishment, listen to this, prohibiting the establishment, issuance, circulation, and the use of CBDC within the jurisdiction of the United States. So Trump was calling in his executive order, he was saying that there should never be a possibility that the United States is able to issue a central bank digital currency. What is a central bank digital currency? Very simply put, basically a currency that is issued by a central bank and can be controlled by the state, and that is not good. That's going back to China. Now, what is interesting, and a lot of people got wrong, even the people who voted, is that many of the members who voted today had concerns with the Genius Act and the CBDC. However, there is a language in the Genius Act, so it is included within the Genius Act, that would explicitly prohibit the Fed from creating a retail CBDC. So it says here, as expanding the authority of the board with respect to the services board can make directly available to the public, or nothing in this act shall be constructed. I don't know where it says here, but there is a specific section in there that says that you are not good. They cannot issue a central bank digital currency. So everybody who voted no, except the Democrats, because they voted no, because why not, you know? But in general, the Republicans who voted no, or the people who have common sense and understand how good this would be, they voted no. The reason why they voted no is because they wanted to make a stronger case for the United States. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but for those of you who are watching and you don't know what the difference is, CBDCs are not equal to stablecoins. Central bank digital currencies are issued by the central bank and they are centralized. The central bank, just like the dollar, they control it. Like the Fed controls the supply of the dollar. And if that was digitally printed, they could simply, in a COVID case, for example, they could just simply, with a click of a button and the help of the blockchain, could just simply say, you can't spend your money. Now, through banks, it's very digital because they are privatized and every bank should stop the service of consumers, which would be very difficult and illegal to carry out. But if you have a central bank digital currency, basically what you can do is with a click of a button, just simply freeze the chain and be like, there is no more money, people, between 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. I'm just saying something. On the other hand, stable coins are issued by private institutions, not regulating, no regulatory authority, and they are centralized as well, but in a way where there is an oversight on how you can issue, custody, and put these stable coins into circulation, but it's not one central entity like the government controlling all the stable coins out there in the world. So there's a massive difference there. Now, no central intervention and middleman, so the US cannot directly have, just like with the bank, the US cannot go to a private bank and say, hey, you have to freeze customers now. In theory, they can do that. With a central bank digital currency, they could, and a bunch of things. Now, if this whole thing is completely foreign to you and you don't know what I'm talking about, I do recommend you join our school. The school starts in 12 days. We dedicated the past 12 months to this. There's a link in the description, as Cuz is also going to pin it in here onto the top of the live chat. And also, if you're rewatching, in the comment section, send this to your friends, send this to your mother, father, cat owners club. This is the place to be and learn about crypto. What is CBDCs? What are stable coins? What is Bitcoin? What is a wallet? What is DeFi? All that stuff. So do that and join us with Ren and me doing the course. It's actually mind-blowing and it's completely for free. So join, there is a link in the description. But also, like a lot of people who think like this, you should also send it to them, right? So, I don't know, man, 120,000 for Bitcoin sounds risky. Then they go and finance a Kia Soul at 14% APR while eating seed oil and cricket paste in a house they don't own with money they don't have to impress people who think the Bachelor is real. Bitcoin isn't risky, idiot. Your entire life is a rock pool. So, I cracked me up. Very, very, very cool post. But unfortunately, it is true. It is true. So go and send them this, free your friends, family, send them the link in the description and let them join school as well. But here's what Trump had to say. Now, Trump was pissed. And when Trump is pissed, you know what's happening? I mean, we'll have to look at it. You know, we might have to, just look at it and sort everything. So when he was standing here next to his helicopter, he got asked about what is going to happen. And this is what he had to say.
Wasn't able to move on that crypto legislation. No, the interesting thing is the 12 votes were votes where they wanted it to be stronger.
So it said the 12, I don't know how much you hear about it, it's a very shitty recording, but it says the 12 votes who voted against, which is 13, was because they wanted it to be stronger for the people. So there's no CBDC, they're making sure there's no CBDC. It's a very important element to the rejection of these bills. Very important element. It's like in terms of crypto people.
Thinking, oh wow, that's sort of interesting, because I was focused really on today's meeting, not that. But the interesting is the votes, those negative votes, were because they wanted it to be, and the safeguards, they wanted it to be stronger for people with Bitcoin or crypto. They wanted more strength, which is interesting.
So they wanted the people with Bitcoin and crypto to have more strength. And this is exactly what happened. So the people who voted against, and remember there were 13 people who voted against, they wanted it to be stronger. Now, after this passed, they came together, they started talking about it, and then they said, okay, so like, now let's put it to another vote. But apparently the amendments and the discussions and this and that led them to believe that why there is no enough like on the show. Badum. I don't know, I have this here. Look, hold on a second. Oh, this is another one. I can do this. Oh, I do this. Please, like the show, subscribe to the channel, check out the links. Follow me on X. I just hit 50,000, 1851. Help on that and get all the alpha for free. But, so a lot of people who were, you know, not doing this, they wanted to have another vote. There was no vote. And the markets took it a little bit in the chin. You know, they were like, okay, like we thought this was going to be an easy run. It's exactly what President Trump said. It's going to be an easy run. Like, I think we got a problem here, Houston. Now, the thing is, and here is, you know, hear me out here. You can think whatever you want, but I mean, we know who runs the club here. I mean, we know, you know, tremendous amount of effort goes into Trump creating exactly what he wants. Great people. And so he runs the show. And there is, when they vote, there is a ledger or a list of people who voted, and there is exactly a clear explanation of who voted for what, right? So you see who is the representative, so you can like track that back and see. Let me get by the look of it. Let me that, and I'm not being a dickhead here. I'm just trying to, like, if I look at her, I'm pretty confident she voted no. Of course she voted no. Like, of course. Anyway, and she's a Democrat. Okay, so anyway, so you can see who voted yes and who voted no. Okay, so what Trump did. He went back and he tweeted and he said, you know what? I'm actually sitting in the Oval Office with 11 of the 13 people and we're discussing why they should vote. So we're sitting here discussing, you know? So he's saying they're discussing in a short discussion, meaning if you don't vote, you're fucking out, bro. That's what he said exactly. And they have all agreed to vote tomorrow morning in favor of the rule. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, was at the meeting via telephone and looks forward to taking the votes as early as possible, meaning today. I want to thank the congressman, women for their quick and positive response. MAGA, okay? Now, the vote is happening today in about 3 hours. It's exactly in 3 hours. It's gonna be one of the most important things in the US crypto history ever, right? Because, I mean, I'm saying like, when I say ever, I mean, it's kind of ever up till now. Probably there will be more important things, but even the strategic Bitcoin reserve probably wasn't as important in this. Because when you have the Genius Act passes, when there is clear regulation for how stablecoins can be issued, custodied, given, held, bought, you know, all that stuff, that opens up a massive flood of liquidity for money that can come in. That will basically mean that I will be allowed to buy USDT, or 380 million Americans will be able to buy USDT in their bank. I'm not talking about Revolut, I'm not talking about PayPal, I'm talking about bank. You can go onto the Bank of America and say, I want to buy $200,000 worth of USDT. And from that point, you will be able to transfer that USDT onto any crypto exchange, any crypto provider, anywhere. The barrier of entry will be basically non-existent. So it's super important that the Genius Act passes. 2, the Clarity Act. It's always been about CFTC, SEC, right? What is what? Is this a security? And then the clown Gary, I hope everybody forgot that guy, but Gary was like, oh, this is definitely a security, you know? And then he goes out and is like, okay, well, if ETH is a security, like, like if ETH is a security, then what is Solana? And then what are all the other tokens? And if XRP is not a security, then why ETH is? And so there's this whole confusion, which by the Clarity Act will be completely gone. You will have clear regulation on how can you self-custody, how can you use DeFi, how can you use and own digital assets. Like it's huge. It's massive. It's huge. It's huge. It's massive. It's tremendous. Great guy. Great guy. Cause he's a great guy. Like, I'll tell you what. Like, he came to me and he said, you know, we should do this show. We should see what the Clarity Act goes through. And I said, we have the greatest people here in the office. We should do the show. And we did the show. Like, I'm the greatest at doing shows. So, this is what we did. Anyway, this is what he did as well. And there is a couple of things you want to look out for. One is stablecoins, right? So PENDLE is one of the tokens that I'm looking at, and I'm going to take along here, but you have to be paying attention. Two things you can do. One, you can join my free Telegram. It's literally here. It's not a sell. It's just a free Telegram that you can get here. And I share all my thoughts and everything. There's a link in the description because it's also going to pin it up here so you can join completely for free. So I will be sharing with you when I'm taking the trades. I will be monitoring what happens. I will update you and I'll just simply share it with you there. But I do think it will be worth a long position. PENDLE handles a lot of stablecoin stuff, right? And the same with Athena. Athena is also an ETH echo play, but also very strong on stablecoin yields, right? So these two, in my opinion, are very much in a narrative of one ETH beta, right? And also with the stablecoin. So if the bill passes today, I do think we are going to skyrocket in these two tokens, or a lot of other tokens, but these two tokens are definitely going to fly. Now, what happens if the bill is not passed? Well, I'm gonna tell them we've got a problem. I told them we should not do that. Frankly, quite frankly, I told them we should not do that. Quite frankly, I'm telling you now, quite frankly, don't long the market if there's not passing, because then we have a problem. So, if the bill is not passed, we are having a problem here, and the problem is going to be that this thing can last for a long time. We don't know how long it will last. And if there is no clarity, the market will take it very, very badly. So I think, again, like if you look at the chart, and this is, we're going to look at the chart now, but ultimately, like when I say the market will take it very badly, I expect us to go a little bit maybe lower down here, 365 or possibly 354. So it's not like a very, very badly, maybe 3-4% on total, maybe 6-7% on Bitcoin, but it's not like harakiri, but it's not gonna be good for the market because it's threatening everything that Trump was preaching about. But also, I personally do believe that we are going to see it pass, and when it passes, I do think that, you know, it's just going to be great, and our palm bag's gonna go to the moon. So I'm already long positioned. If you follow my content, if you're in a Telegram, you know I've been layering in here. We're up on these positions. Finally, this 𝗙𝗃 is moving as well. I don't know what this thing is doing here. It's drunk from the party of Solana ETF approval. It's taking, stop moving. But anyway, Sui is up massively as well. I wanna like, this is also a reason why you should follow me on X and just join the Telegram. Like literally 3x leverage position, 133% up. I called this 40% move, bro. I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's a no-brainer. But anyway, you can choose poor as well. It's your decision. Bitcoin, we do have a nice position here. TON, I'm extremely bullish on TON. I do think TON is just getting started. Let's look at this here. Also, I want to tell you, if you want to see me, I'm going to show this to you. So I have a trading channel. It's called the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 Club. I do trading there, and I jumped on, and when I hit 50,000, I'm just, yeah, it's jumped on there. And when I hit 50,000, the community said that I should do a handstand, so I kicked the lamp down, but I wanted to show you this.
Today, actually, to manage stocks and all of these meme coins for me, and giving her 10% of my funds allocation to just focus.
Anyway, you can check the whole stream. Because he's going to pin it here. But also, I'm gonna do a bunch. I think Ren is coming, joining me on the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 Club here next week. So you want to go and check that out. There's a link in the description. But also, just come and join me there daily. This is my last day here. Ren is coming back from holiday. He's going to kick me out from this channel here. So I want you to make sure to not just come and join the fam. 2-3 more news that I want to cover because it's important again for the 24 hours. One is Pump Fund started buybacks on a heavy level. They bought back 4.5 million, and they deposited another $4.5 million for buybacks. That means they're buying it in like $15,000 clips. They're just buying back. They're just buying back and burning, which is absolutely incredible. Now, a lot of people, I see this circulating everywhere, and I'm kind of sick of it. Like, hear me out here. Like, look at my mouth. Like, no way Trump can and will fire JP. Not happening. So whoever says that JP is imminently going to be fired, it's not happening. It is not happening. He's not going to be fired. If he is, you should be very fucking concerned. The market will take it horribly. Why? Because that means there is no sovereignty for the Fed, and Trump can do whatever he wants, and he will forcefully remove the Fed chair to lower interest rates, which, by the way, is not possible because the Fed votes the new chair, and they can re-elect Powell, or they can just re-elect someone who supports Powell. So it's not gonna happen. So don't bank on that. But yeah, and the market is not even close to overheating. It didn't even get started. If you look at this, you will see until March and December, on-chain data indicates market overheating, shows that the market still has reached an overheated state. So if you look at this chart, you see it's basically nothing compared to what we've seen back in 2024 December and January through the meme mania. Yeah, so that's what it is. I'm gonna look at these charts as well. Let me know in the comment what charts you want me to look at. So saying congrats on the 50K on X. Thank you very much. No, stay more content. Yes, I will. I'm gonna jump into the Telegram, and I'm gonna do a Zoom call for the guys to see how these things work, these bots work, and what to do. How will that affect the price of pump for those of us playing the leverage bet? What? Buyback? Incredible. That's very good. Trump replaces him next year, so what happens then? Send my backs to the moon. Please different today PPI versus yesterday reading. What do you mean differentiate? Pepe, blue chips, sold short or long? Long. Link. Sold short or long? Long, of course long. Let's do, I'm gonna do Bitcoin. And I'm gonna jump into the Telegram, and we're gonna do the Zoom. So total market cap, I can do this because I think it's just relevant. If you look at this, very simply, we should be getting a pullback to the 3.37, but I do think that we're gonna get a massive push here, potentially on the approval of the whole, like guys, inflation is going down, PPI coming in lower, CPI, core CPI coming in lower. These bills hopefully going to get approved today. There is literally no barrier, not structurally, not fundamentally. There's no reason why these things should not like skyrocket from here. So ultimately, I do think that we should see, this is a 4-hour high. We should make a higher high at 385 and then see a little bit of a pullback there. We could come down to the 3.47, but we're gonna take it step by step. Again, I'm gonna be over at 24/7 crypto. So I have two places where you can reach me. Again, this is like the last day here for me on Banter for a while. I'm bringing you shows on the weekends. But Ren is coming back and taking back his slot. So we're gonna include this in the description. This is called 24/7 Crypto Live. This is where I am doing these kind of shows every single day. So go and subscribe there. There's gonna be a link in the description. But also make sure to subscribe to the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Club, which is my trading channel, which is where I do all the actual trading and teaching you how to navigate the market 24/7. We're gonna do, I'm just putting a hook up, just having fun, just, all that stuff. So go and subscribe there as well. Guys, I truly appreciate both of you, two of you being here. We have 14,014. Okay, I think today I'm done. I appreciate both of you for the 14,000 people who are here. But thank you so much for listening and watching. Make sure that we pass the bill today, and then we can send our backs to the moon. Make sure to check out this tremendous amount of value that you get here. This is going to be, oh, and by the way, talking about America, hold on, everybody. Hold on. I almost forget one of the coolest things ever. So I have a vlog. I share with you my life, right? And I put out an episode. I went to the States for the first time. And we're gonna include this as well because I'm going to pin it. But I made a video about me going to the United States. It's called the $1 Billion Hustle, okay? And I wanna show you the beginning of the show. And then you can go and check it out if you like it. And this is what I'm gonna leave this here. For the first time ever, I went to the United States of America. I didn't realize how big the United States actually is. So you have 330 million people who you can sell stuff to. I was thinking this guy's gonna follow me and shoot me in the back on the street. And I mean, this is Vegas, you see? Staying at the Trump International was an experience. The food is just so different. I literally had goosebumps eating ketchup at McDonald's. Anyway, if you want to check this out, there's a link in the description, because also going to pin it up here. Guys, truly appreciate you. Make sure to check out this video about this trip. Make sure to subscribe to the channel here, and make sure to come and see 24/7 Crypto and 𝗏𝗏 Club, where I'm gonna be bringing you the best of the best of the best alpha. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I believe I'll see you in the next one.